Here's how you work with paging within grids. I've got a panel navigator here, tab band, so I've got a couple of panel cards and a grid in each one. That's just a copy of the same one. There's 6 records in this table, and I've got each one of these grids to show 3 records at a time, so that guarantees me 2 pages. You don't actually move to the 200th row. You always work within the number of rows that you've designated within a grid page. So if you've got 200 rows and you're working on the 10th page, you're still working with rows 1 to 10, for example, if you're showing 10 rows. If you're showing 5 rows, no matter what page you're working on, you're always working with row number 1 to 5. So it just depends on which page. So you got to get to the page and then set the row. So this is what this looks like. Fire this up. So there's our panel card. There's our panel card 2. And we'll go to the second row of the first page. And then we'll go to the panel card. And then we set the second row. And then we'll go to the third row of the first page and move back to the other panel card so they're in sync. Now we'll move to the last page. So there's my next 3 records. And I'll go to Tango Pool and I'll go to panel card 2. And that synchronizes to the second page, last record. And I'll just move back up. Again, second page, last page, and everything behaves itself in here. And so this is how you get this done. A lot of the work's being done in the on-panel navigate. So I think we'll start at the beginning. Client side for the UX, we set up a dialog object namespace object called grid info, and then we just that object has 2 properties. The first one is called row number, and the other one, which I'll set and show you in a minute, is called page number. So that's what we do in the onRender complete. So we set up this object and it's just got a couple of properties in it. And then on panel navigate, we'll show you this first. So let's get into one of the grids. And on grid render, well, that's changing the heading title. But on row select, we grab the parent object, which is the UX, and we're setting that object grid info row number. So we're saving off the row number back in the UX. So that's what we're doing there. And that's that object that we set up called underbar grid info. And then on row select, on grid render, and then when we page things, then we get the parent object again, and we're just setting the other property. Here's where we set that page number property to this dot page number. Since we're on page navigate, this dot page number holds the page that we're navigating to. And so that's filling up this object now with page number and a row number. So we've got those 2 things. So let's head back to the panel navigator now. And in this on panel navigate, we grab the row number. We need to grab the row number because as soon as we navigate to another page, the on row select fires in the grid and resets our page number, or sorry, our current row number back to 1 all the time. So we've got to grab the current row number that we're on, that we just clicked on in the row, and save that off before we start paging. Now in here, in this on panel navigate, this .state.active panel tells us which panel we're going to. So we're doing case underbar. We're using a switch statement, and if we're moving to panel card 1, then we go and get the child object, which is the grid, and then we navigate the child object to the current page number that we saved off into our dialog object called underbar grid info, and we grab its property called page number, and then we got to give it a little bit of time to settle down and to page. So we do a set timeout for half a second. You might be able to cut that down to less. It depends on your system. So we do a set timeout and then we do a set focus to the child object for the current row that we saved up here. Same thing for panel card 2. If we're moving to panel card 2, then we get the panel card 2 object, which is grid 2, pool grid 2. And we do the same thing. We grab the page number that we've saved, give it a little bit of time to settle down, and then set focus to the proper row. And that's it.